Thank you very much, the Commander-in-Chief and President of the Official Opposition. We will now take questions from members of the media. You'll be number 1, you'll be number 2, you'll be number 3, you'll be number 4. And let's proceed quickly. Samgel.
Okay. The question to the official opposition, the EFF. I wonder what Floyd has to say about that. Mr. Malema and your colleagues. Just on the issue of the budget now going forward, what are going to be the main thrust of the negotiations with political parties in parliament, in the main with the ANC? I heard your speech over the weekend saying that you are willing to engage, but you won't engage in an association with the Democratic Alliance and also the Freedom Front Plus. What will be the main thrust of your negotiations going forward? Then secondly, on the issues pertaining to the actual fiscal framework of the budget in itself, what are some of your main procedure points that you would like to be followed, noting that this particular judgment noted the discrepancies that were there in the portfolio committee that Mr. Asnawo was part of? What are some of those points that Parliament must seek to address that will not bring the country back to a phase where the entire parliamentary proceedings or committee proceedings are then taken to court once again? Then lastly, on the issues pertaining to the so-called Black Caucus within Parliament, where does this particular judgment now put the EFF's relationship with some of the parties like the NCC that were nowhere to be found during the voting of this fiscal framework in Parliament? Would you still be engaging some of these parties, or are you inadvertently saying you are now pulling away from this particular caucus, standing alone, and having a supply and demand to both those in government and those within the opposition? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Number 2.
Good morning, Alpha Ramushwana here from Eyewitness News. I mean, I'm partially covered, so I'm going to cover a lot of those questions. I also want to ask about the court ruling. The ANC last week says that the DA and the EFF's application in court has nothing to do with the finance minister's reversal of the value-added tax increase. What do you make of that statement? And I'd also like some reaction on Floyd Shivambu's visit to Malawi, where he went to Shepherd Bushiri's church. Thank you.
Number 3.
Good afternoon, leadership. Zinoko Mhlaba from Newsroom Africa. The entire fiscal framework and VAT debate is really exposing the analysis and understanding legal processes of passing budgets as we see here. My question now then talks to the issues of how do you find balance between respecting the democratic process, in this case, respecting the views of the majority, which the ANC managed to garner, but also having an opposition that is able to take on that majority by, as the EFF has done, by taking legal steps to really enforce the legalities or the legal processes which Parliament must follow in deciding on such important matters. So what lesson can we learn from this? And of course, how does this whole debate, as we have seen it unfolding, really put citizens of this country in a very, very vulnerable position? Do you believe that had the EFF and the DA not taken this issue legally, would be able to get consensus within parliamentary structures to fix the problem that the court has finally found? But also going forward now, as Samkelo pointed out, the role of the opposition and the importance of the importance of uniting opposition parties within Parliament. Do you think that is still possible, or it is time for each party now to stand alone and also go as far as using legal processes, to challenge whatever they are not happy with? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Number 4, and hopefully we'll keep it brief and straight to questions.
Our data is slow. Good afternoon. Shannon Merricks from Kasi Broadcasting Africa. I want to focus on local issues. The on 1st of April, the press statement talks of something that happens in Parliament or whatever. People voted and so on. 1st April is April Fool's Day. But on 27 April, the court reversed what happened on 1st April 2025. How does the EFF feel about that victory, that on 27 February 2025, the court reversed a very important judgment that's in the favor of poor people, especially black people? That's one. Two, the EFF put some strikers in, for the lack of a better word, strikers in Parliament. It was Ompile, it was Siano, the spokesperson, and this other young doctor that we never saw before to fight this bill. And in the media, they actually brought more clarity to us in the media, and I think to the DA and others as well. Now you claim you are the official opposition. Do you think these young people will be able to take the EFF forward beyond where it is now? Number three, the elephant in the room. The people out there are worried. Are people going to get SASSA payment next week? Are the poor black child going to get their feeding scheme next week? Are the Gogos going to get the grant? And the most important thing about the disability grant, pension, old age grant, and child grant, will they get the increase of the grant? Because remember, the increase now is part of this budget that, give or take, I'm not the doctor that gave the analysis of the budget, but now there's no budget. Thank you.
All right, thank you, President.
Thank you very much. You and the TG must be ready to also answer questions because you are members of the committee. You can provide more clarity on the processes that unfolded. There's no negotiations going forward with anyone. We are going to a committee, and then the law must be followed to the letter. So there's no one who's going to be seeking any favor from anyone. We outlined what we want in the budget, and we've even put that down, sent to the ANC, sent to the minister, and we've even published those things that we are talking about. So you will know that once we agree on such things, ANC, if it wants to win us over, it has to reach out and agree on some of those issues. Issues like the increase of corporate tax, the apartheid tax, and those underutilized land tax, and so many. So these are not necessarily about everything else, except that this is where we can generate revenue. Instead of going to target the poor, let's go to the people who matter the most, who make money, and collect more taxes from them. And it has, the parliament process is such that this matter he must prepare a new budget and then go to the finance committee, and then there must be public consultations, I think for 30 days, and then come back to through the committee to come and present the budget. So in all of those days, there will not be budget, which means in the absence of the newly adopted budget, you use the previous budget. So that's where we find ourselves. The Progressive Caucus is there. I mean, even when we went to, to vote for budget, we had a meeting of the Progressive Caucus. We took a position with the NCC. The NCC was there. You saw that meeting we had with ANC by the toilet there in Parliament. There's a picture they were standing next to the toilet. The ANC was asking us to abstain so that they can get the numbers, because they were not sure about the numbers. They were asking us to abstain. And they went to do that to NCC. They said they must abstain. So the NCC, having known that they participated in the Progressive Caucus and the position was taken there, they were not prepared to abstain being physically there. So they pretended like they are going outside for something and then they disappeared, which is a very unacceptable practice. I mean, we must not relate as if what is on the street. You can just, mislead people and disappear. But the people of South Africa will judge them for who they are. The ANC said the court papers have nothing to do with tax. The court spoke to tax. So the ANC is exposed. And I don't understand why would Mbalula say the ANC has always opposed VAT and the media doesn't take him head on that. Who presented the VAT? Because the VAT didn't present itself there in Parliament. It was the ANC finance minister who presented the VAT and the budget. And then the ANC, after securing that narrow victory, they celebrated. They were singing. And then they were joined by that prisoner, the ex-convict. He was singing the loudest from the front there, like a child excited. So when you come and say you didn't support VAT, and VAT gets adopted, and then you dance, you ululate, you celebrate, and the people of South Africa still trust such people as leaders of society. People who lie openly in public, lie, that we never supported. There's nothing wrong with a principle that said, well, we thought this was going to be the most effective way to collect more taxes, but after many persuasions, the ANC withdraws its proposal. Because we went to have a meeting with the ANC. They were telling us that we must support 0.5%. We refused. We said we're not going to support any VAT increase, and then we're not going to participate in anything that has got to do with the DA and the Freedom Front Plus. So it's a lie. It's a complete lie. I don't think the question about people attending churches and all of that, it's really our concern, because you're going to ask us in future, you saw so-and-so attending a club or shebeen or something. We have nothing to do with such things. People do what they want to do, and they don't belong to our organization, so we have nothing to do with that. Majority versus the court decision. You can't use the majority to pass irrational decisions. So every decision in South Africa, even if it's taken by the majority, it has to pass a rational test. That's why we took that decision of the majority to the court. The courts are there because the Constitution of the Republic of South Africa is the final decision. It's not politicians who take final decision. Politicians can debate, take a decision and all of that. But if it doesn't meet the constitutional requirements, the courts are going to come in. Because we don't have parliamentary supremacy in South Africa. We've got a constitutional supremacy. And therefore that the majority have taken a decision, no one else must come in. You are reducing our constitution to parliamentary supremacy. So that issue gets clarified by that the whatever majority you can have, it must meet the rational test. I mean, it's not for the first time. I mean, the majority approved Nkandla, and we took it to court. And the court said, yeah, no, this is wrong. Reverse the whole thing. So the arrogance of the ANC, and sometimes I don't think it's an arrogance of the ANC. I think sometimes it's the illiteracy of the leadership of the ANC when it comes to parliament matters. Because remember, these people used to have majority. Now, they no longer have majority. Now they get exposed. Because in the past, when you debate, they say, no, let's vote. Let's vote. So they can no longer do that. Now they have to make serious, well-informed inputs. And those inputs have to meet the rational test. And that's where they get exposed. They are going to be exposed for a very long time. You can trust us with that. We don't have any agreements with any party. We are an independent organization. We contested elections in our own right, and we got elected in our own right. So even when we are in a progressive caucus, well, it doesn't take away the independence of the EFF. The same way didn't take away the independence of the NCC. It came to a meeting, it agreed, and it eventually used its own independence to determine where they finally stand on these matters. So we were under no illusion of being in some form of agreement with any political party. We contested elections on our own, and we got 91%. They just forgot to put one on the other side. Because only a 91% party can do what we're doing. I mean, this is the work that gets to be done by people with the serious numbers and all of that. But sometimes quantity does not translate to quality, because we've got people there who are saying they are official opposition with numbers, but in terms of substance, they are extremely, extremely challenging. I mean, I saw them saying they're going to pass a motion of no confidence in Parliament on the Minister of Finance. I mean, what is that? What procedure is that one now? Because ministers are appointed by the President. They are not appointed by Parliament. We can make a call like we're doing, but the final decision rests with the President of the Republic of South Africa. Those are the types of stupid things we are not going to agree to. And you are going to say, no, the progressive caucus is not working together. Working together, agreeing on stupidity. We can't allow that. We are not going to be part of such things. We only agree and align ourselves on superior logic. Our going to court, we didn't join the DA. You know how the court matters work. If you come to court and there's someone already in court on the same matter, you're going to be forced to join that matter. We wrote a letter to the speaker midnight. They woke up in the morning to see our letter. They wrote a letter. They were arguing different points altogether. Even in court, they were arguing completely different points. This court decision, if you go and look at it, it is in the prayers. Raw as it is, it's in the prayers of the EFF. You must just go and read the prayers of the EFF in the court papers and then look at this judgment. It's exactly what the EFF asked the court to do. Then you go to the DA, you look at the prayers of the DA, and you look at this agreement. You realize that the DA was there for a different reason. And someone was saying, yeah, but you're voting with the DA. I said, no, we're not voting with the DA. We're voting for EFF position. And we're doing it for different reasons. We never voted for the same position with the DA because we are sharing the same reasons. We don't share the same reasons with the DA. 27 April was a very important day in the history of South Africa in 1994. And today it becomes again an important day, a turning point in the politics of South Africa, and especially parliamentary politics. So to overturn a decision of April Fools on the 27th of April was a victory to the Constitution of the Republic of South Africa. That fools will never undermine the Constitution of the Republic of South Africa for as long as the EFF is there. The EFF has always been led by young people, and we've got full confidence in them, and that's why we entrust them with responsibilities and huge responsibilities, and they don't disappoint. They always come back with victory. Well, the SASSA is going to be there. We're using the old budget, as we said, but there won't be an increase because the increase was proposed in the current budget, which is now set aside. So which means the 20 rand he promised to increase that grant they give to the unemployed, social relief. It was giving them 350, said it's going to put 20 rand to 370. It won't happen because the budget has not been approved. We expect the people to get their money, especially the poor of the poorest. The only difference is that there will not be an increase. And all of that must be blamed on the ANC and the DA. The GNU has completely failed the people of South Africa, and the sooner we realize that, the better. We must be ashamed that we have a country without a budget. Everybody must be ashamed that there is no budget in South Africa today as we speak. And what is worse is that those people are going to pay the cost of what could have been avoided had they listened to the superior logic. The TG, when she closed her debate, she told them, we'll meet in court. And they thought we were playing. I don't know why these guys are not replaying that thing there in the EFF social media where she tells them, we'll meet in court. You replay that thing and you put that court judgment. Well, this is what we said and this is what we came up with to demonstrate that we mean everything we said. We said to you, South Africa, we are not going to be a disruptive opposition. We are going to be a constructive opposition. We are going to hold the executive accountable, and we are doing exactly that. You can be in denial in the media because you had written us off. You said, no, the EFF is gone. The think tanks of the EFF are gone. What's going to happen to the EFF? When the think tanks of the EFF were here, have you ever seen such a superior logic being displayed? Okay, because they are tanks, why are they not tankering where they are? Eh? What? Because they were superior, they were what? Thinking tanks. Let them go and think tank there, where they are. Where they are, there is nothing. A meeting, a finance committee meeting can sit for 7 hours without those people saying anything. Nothing. So we have demonstrated to you physically that they did not make the EFF. They didn't make the EFF. So we have indicated the thinking tanks are now showing on the other side that they have never been thinking tanks. No, there were wheelbarrows that got pushed around by us. Thanks.